What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you guys how I came about this piece. Now without further ado, let's jump straight into today's video. So basically, before you do anything, the first thing you have to know is your software. This is the software I used to create art. Like I said, the software I used to create art, and this is what I used to make this piece. So you can use Adobe Photoshop CC 2015 or later, and then these are like some helpful shortcuts I use in my workflow. So you can pause the video and take a screenshot or something to see all the shortcuts used and some of them which I used in the video. So first things first, I went to Adobe Illustrator before going into Photoshop. So I created a circle, and then after creating the circle, I went to the effects, distort, pucker, and blot tool to be able to create this vector shape that I'll use for the cover art or the poster or whatever. So you can give it any number you feel like. For me, I decided to go within the range of 80 to 81 or 83, and then I created I created one and exported it as a PNG, and then select anywhere you want to drop it in your PC so that you'll be able to remember that later. Then as you can see, I created it without a background, so you export it, which like the background will be transparent. So and then I decided to make something else, but before that, okay, let me show you guys what I created here. So I made a rectangle in Illustrator, right? I made a rectangle. Then basically I was trying to create a barcode, if that makes sense, like a fake barcode that that doesn't work. So I'll use it for it because I'm trying to put this like cyberpunk / sci-fi theme. I'm trying to use to like make art. So yes, barcode is usually like needed for something like this. I mean, you usually see these kind of things in like games like cyberpunk or whatever, or sci-fi movies. So that's by the way. So in this case, you duplicate each rectangles. You can see here I made like different rectangles like in another color which is not black. So I'm trying to like duplicate and make different sizes so it would kind of give that barcode like effect. So after creating these rectangles, and then the next thing which I did was to like select everything together by holding the shift and tapping on each piece, then grouping them together. That would be Ctrl G, but if you don't want to do that, then just use the group option. Then I decided to use Shift plus M holding Alt, so I would go over this like yellow / cream rectangle like structures on the black thing, so it would kind of like delete everything, leaving only the black rectangle. So now you see it looks more like a barcode. And then I'm going to export this one as well, so you would have so it will be part of my like vector thing I'll use for the art. So I decided to like select this one and try to like rescale it to size to make everything look good. So at this point, it's safe to say that we are done with Illustrator, and now we can move into Photoshop. So here I decided to bring in my picture which I found on Pinterest. I don't know who she is. If you guys know who she is, you can leave her in the comments, but I'm pretty sure not everyone forgive me for saying that. But anyways, you get the idea. So that's by the way. And secondly, I have this color palette which I made for a field project, so I decided to use that for this piece instead. So I made my background layer which looks like teal / green, I don't know what you call this. So and then I duplicated this layer by using Ctrl J. I left that in the first before the beginning of the video when I left shortcuts, and I duplicated that and changed the color so you guys will be able to see the difference. And then holding the layer of the whites and then I tapped control on the green layer, and then I deleted the selected layer, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys understand what just happened there. In simple words, what I did was this. I created a rectangle, a square inside the outer square. After creating that square, then I decided to walk in that square which I created, if you guys understand that. So in order to achieve that, instead of doing all these things, just create a clipping mask with the square which you created, or which I create, or which you whatever, the square which you created inside the outer square. I think that's a better explanation for what I did here, instead of going through all the stress I went through. So after creating the square, create a clipping mask, and then you'll be able to like do this thing. And then at this point, I went back to where I saved the vector file, so which was my desktop. So I brought it into Photoshop. So that is the bad boy code, which doesn't make any sense there. So I'm looking for a good spot to keep that. So I think to place it up will be better. And then the next thing I did, I decided to bring in the second element which I created. I'll be giving away these elements for free once I hit 1,000 subscribers on my channel, so you guys should make sure you subscribe to this channel. So I'll be giving out all my elements for free, so that'll be my giveaway. So in this point, I decided to like duplicate them 3 times, and then looking for the perfect spot to like keep this, just decided to do some crazy, not so crazy, but some graphic design thing. And then I created, or better still, I duplicated the background layer and then placed it on top of the image, and then was moving around with the blending mode till I found something really good. I think I used what was it let me see, maybe I can't remember but you guys should just watch the video. Oh, okay. So yes, at this point, what I decided to use was exclusion, and then I had to like reduce the fill and opacity by just reducing it to my preferred amount. You can use any amount you feel like. So, and then the fonts I used in this piece is called NERO. You can get that for free online, maybe from the font or free fonts. I can't remember the other name. I'll leave the link to where you can get free fonts in the description below. So I don't know, I just came up with a concept and I called it Future, because she looks like someone, I don't know, maybe her outfit just looks so, it looks good, but at the same time it kind of has this like sci-fi vibe to it. I don't know if it's just me, but that's how I felt as soon as I saw the picture. So, and then in order to achieve this like outline here, what I decided to do for this future text was that I had to double tap on the layer and then reduce the fill. After reducing the fill, I turned on the stroke, and that was how I came about this outline here. So for those of you that don't know how to do this outline, so just maybe you can pause the video or go back to see how I did the outline. It's not so fast. So, and then here I'm just playing around with the elements which I created, so it won't overlap the text or the word which I put into the picture. So at this point, I duplicated the future again, and then the font I used here is called HYPERSPACE. So that is my font. So I'll leave a link in the description to where you can get my fonts. There's 2 types. There's a free version, and then there's a paid version of the HYPERSPACE. So this is the paid version of the HYPERSPACE. So the link will be in the description below, so you can check that out. So future videos, I'll probably make a video where I would show you guys how my font works, like the overview of my font, and then you can get that like my Gumroad. So yeah, the link here to where you can find my font. So that's by the way about that bad boy. So I think I'm halfway done with this already. Like at this point, I was halfway done. So I just decided to like write something random. The future is now with 3 dots behind, and then duplicated it twice with Ctrl J. So turn everything into a smart object and rotate it to the other side and reduce the bad boy, and then take it under the shiny thing that looks like a star, and then increase it to the same size, so they would not go outside the edges, blah blah blah. And then the next thing I used for this thing is the pen tool, which the shortcut is P, which I showed earlier in the video. But then I didn't use that. I just decided to like click on the pen tool, and then I'm using the outline, like the shape version of the pen tool, because there's 2 parts of the pen tool. There's the path and then there's the shape. So this is the shape version. So I decided to like create this thing. I don't know if you guys have seen anything that looks really techy. They tend to have this circuitry look, this kind of circuit look, blah blah blah. So yeah, I decided to add that to it, and then that's one part. So and then going through my elements pack or my vector pack, and then I have this thing, this JPEG file, this texture, which I decided to add to it. So I used color dodge, and then I would have to like rasterize that, reduce the opacity, and then last but not least, I decided to add this parental advisory explicit content to make it look like a song cover, if that makes sense. So technically, if this were to be a song cover, it would be kind of a EDM cover or house, a deep house vibe kind of cover, because that's what it looks like, right? I mean, this kind of futuristic sound, blah blah blah. So you can use this kind of technique I used here to make like posters. So if you're wondering how I changed the color of the parental advisory thing, I just made it a rasterized layer and then locked the layer and used my brush tool to like change the color. That was how I did that there. So you can use this to like make a poster or a t-shirt design. So whichever way, this is basically like one of the easiest process I use to create some of these things I make on my channel. I haven't really gone through all that. So yeah, at this point I decided to make a gray color that is with 50% brightness, and then decided to add grain so it won't affect the overall image in case I want to edit it in the future. So after adding the grain, yeah, I decided to use a gradient overlay for the image. So at some point it was giving me some issues because I couldn't remember how, because it's been a very long time since I did this thing, because I'm usually painting and drawing. But then when I decided to like do it, I don't know, for some reason I found my way around it. So I used kind of pink, I don't know the exact pink, and then I used the exact green or the teal color which is in the background to create this thing. So I reduced that as well so you can see what it looks like. About the texture which I added, I think I removed it at the end because it was beginning to look somehow for me, because I didn't really like it. So but you guys can leave the texture if you want. You can add textures to your pieces. There are places online where you can find textures or you can make yours. So yeah, and then I made another line, just some basic graphic design thing. If you're wondering how I made the line, I used the marquee tool, which is M, to create that. So still, this is just my logo which I brought from my other art piece which I created some time ago, some months ago, some weeks ago, a while back, yes. And then I'm just playing around with, I was just playing around with like shapes here. Decided to like make a rectangle look rounded, Yeah, so it will look kind of cool, because this place doesn't need to look empty, because that's where you keep the detail of the song, right? Since it's a cover, that's where you keep everything around, because I mean that is the thing before you see the picture at the right. So you kind of give like an information about the song and about the picture and about the concept. So that's that for that. And then the next thing which I created here, I mean, I went over my brushes. I have this kind of brush which I downloaded for free. I can't remember the website I got that from. But yeah. And then I used the marquee tool again to create another rectangle, a longer one this time, and then use the brush over it, so you would have this kind of techie look. And I think that's the end. I think that's the end of Future, I guess, because I don't see anything to add. Oh, I added here.
Nice.
So this is the end of the video. You can see the final product. You can see what it looks like with all the green and everything. So now this is a closer look of what it looks like, right? This is the top version of the piece and this is the bottom version. So if you like my content, please make sure you subscribe and then turn on the bell icon, like this video so you keep up yes, like the video, turn on the bell icon so you'll be up to date till whenever I post a new video. Thanks for watching and peace.